Why does tasting a nice espresso taste the way it does? Why does it taste that way? So in this video, we're going to be talking about the philosophical problem of qualia, what that means and why it's meant to be a problem for attempts to understand the mind in physical terms. By the end of the video, you're going to know what philosophers are talking about when they talk about qualia and why qualia are meant to be a problem for the attempts to understand the mind in physical terms. Whether they are a genuine problem or not, you're going to be able to make your own minds up. Okay, and we're going to get going on that right now. Okay, so if you hear the word qualia, we are talking about philosophy of mind, and in particular, we are talking about the kinds of conscious experiences that we have. So qualia are meant to be the intrinsic qualities of conscious experience. So let me try and get a bit more kind of detailed on that because it's quite a confusing concept. Right, nice. Warming and tasty and kind of makes you feel nice and cozy. Okay, so that kind of experience that I have when I drink tea, as opposed to, let's say, drinking an espresso, that's kind of what we're talking about, the quality of my experience. So we're not so much talking about the kind of properties that the tea has. We're talking about the way my experience feels to me from the inside. Why do we use this word qualia? Well, you know, people come up with these words and they kind of stick. Qualia, it's from the Latin. I think it means something like of such a kind. Okay, so if we got one, we're looking at the singular. Quale, you hardly ever see that word coming up. So qualia is plural. It's talking about experiences. What did I mean when I say it's the intrinsic experience? Well, you might think that, you know, when you have an experience, it's related to lots of different things, you know, the outside world and what's going on in your brain. So we're kind of factoring all of that sort of stuff out. We're just talking about the experience from the inside, as it were, just from the experiencer's point of view and not in relation to all the physical stuff that might be going on in the world. When you study philosophy of mind, qualia is a topic that comes up an awful lot. Why so? Well, they're meant to be a problem for physicalist theories of the mind. How does that go? Well, it's a bit kind of fuzzy exactly what kind of problems are there, but basically it tends to go like this. Experience has this kind of intrinsic feeling, this intrinsic property. That's kind of what we're labeling with this term qualia. How are you going to explain it? As a physicalist, you've got the chemical properties of the tea itself. You've got what's going on in my body. You've got what's going on in my mind, the kind of neural stuff, the chemical stuff. But how could any of that explain why it is that a cup of tea feels the way it feels to me? Okay, why is it that it feels a certain way to me, different way to you? Why does coffee feel a different way when I drink it than tea does? Okay, how are you going to explain all of that kind of stuff just in physical, chemical, biological, or whatever terms? That's basically the problem of qualia as it affects physicalists. So there's a whole bunch of issues surrounding, you know, the problem of qualia. So one is, you know, if you're going to talk about them as being objects, as things, what kind of objects are they? How can a physicalist who talks about like stuff that we can observe in the brain talk about qualia at all? So somebody might say, well, you know, strictly speaking, there's no such things as qualia. We're just talking about the properties of experience. Okay, so it's a kind of a phenomenon, but not a thing. Still, there's something to explain there. That's the tricky thing for a physicalist to do. And even though there's lots of things that physicalists have said and that they can say, the general opinion seems to be that no one has yet given a definitive physicalist account of qualia. So some physicalists want to kind of say, you know, we just shouldn't talk about qualia at all. You know, maybe there aren't such things in any sense. A lot of people think that that approach isn't very satisfactory. Dualists, property dualists, let's say, probably could do a bit better because they can just posit these extra non-physical properties and say, yep, those non-physical properties, they are the intrinsic qualities of experience that we mean when we talk about qualia. So whether that counts as an explanation or not, I guess that's a question for another day. So when we're talking about this problem of qualia, we're also talking about this question, can we understand the mind in physical terms? Can we be physicalists about the mind? So if you want to get to grips with physicalism about the mind in more detail, go and have a look at this video over here. Thank you so much to all my Ko-Fi supporters who make this content possible. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you back here soon.